Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Uh, it's funny how this earnings season is kind of shaping up. We have had really busy start, then a little bit more of like a lull. Especially like this past week is kind of got a little bit more focused on like retail, but then things will actually pick back up this coming week as we get like a huge round of tech earnings. All right, so before the open on Monday, there's nothing scheduled. After the close is when things start to get going here. So Palo Alto, pricing in about 42 points, very tight range. You can see here. So to me, it seems due for a move. There have been some quarters where it's moved a lot, but with options at 42, I don't know if there's a ton of room there. Definitely one of the more interesting technical setups of the week, but it just seems like the higher pricing may keep me away from taking options into the report. But it certainly could have an impact on the cybersecurity stocks. Zoom, another big software name. So about 14 and a half points is what they're looking for. It's coming off a pretty solid quarter in May. It does start to look a little weaker, but overall not as bad as some other names that have been kind of trading with this, right? Some of those like work from home names. Um, Option pricing seems a little better on Zoom too, but it has been seeing slightly lower volatility around earnings recently, so maybe it's more of like a post-report focus for me. But it could also pick like DocuSign potentially. Before the open on Tuesday, some more retail numbers. Dick's, which is priced in about 13. Um, Honestly, don't really know what to make of these setups at this point because bad prints aren't really getting punished. But many of the quarters just are not good, so the stocks are having a hard time rallying. I mean, Dix is pretty much straight up into earnings, so I mean, I guess to me, there's more downside risk, but I don't know how much. So it's probably gonna be something I sit out. Macy's, so about 2.5 points is what's priced in. Got bid up on Walmart, but then sank on Target and Kohl's. So similar to Nordstrom, which actually reports after the close on Tuesday. I just really don't know how much to expect with these stocks when so many of their peers have already reported. So between this and Nordstrom, I'd say that Nordstrom to me looks a little bit more interesting. So I'll show the chart in a second, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing anything with either of them. Um, JD, 4 points is what's priced in. Could be kind of interesting. I thought Baba was solid, but the stocks popped didn't really last long. JD is right below recent support, has room in either direction, right? Room down to the May June low, room just to where it was a week and a half ago. So option pricing is not bad. Maybe he sets up a sympathy play on PDD or even like Baba potentially. So after the close on Tuesday, Nordstrom's what I was saying. So it's pricing in about 3.5 points. We're just gonna have to see where it is after Macy's, right? See what Macy's does, see how Nordstrom reacts to that. If Macy's doesn't do much, then I'm not sure I'm going to do anything with Nordstrom. Um, Also, Intuit, about 29 points is what's priced in. I mean, every once in a while you get a large move on earnings, but it's just not that consistent, and it makes it hard for me to lay out money when there's just not consistent movement around earnings. So, sometimes I'll trade it after earnings, but I don't think I'm gonna have any options for the actual results. Before the open on Wednesday, nothing of interest. Wednesday after the close is a big tech night. So Nvidia is priced in at 13 points. It's the largest name of the week, so I mean it's going to have an impact on the semis, that's for sure. The issue with Nvidia is that they just warned on guidance last week, so I just really don't know what to make of it now, right? Because some stocks that warned mid-quarter, like Microsoft and Walmart rallied after reporting, but then others like Snap got hit after reporting, right? So I don't know what to make of it. It's at the 100A. Seems due for a move, but it's also a pattern where I feel like it's really hard to make sense of. And it still feels like AMD could be a nice sympathy play, but I also guess I wouldn't be expecting as much downside on AMD because they already reported decent numbers. So maybe I look at AMD for a sympathy play, just because I feel like it tends to move with Nvidia. Salesforce. So about 14 points is what they're looking for. Tight setup near the top of recent resistance. Got a nice pop last quarter, even though the numbers were, even though the guidance was a little light. So I'm not sure if it's going to get a pass like that this time around, but it does kind of seem like a decent setup for a volatility strategy right now. But probably have to get risk down on both sides. Snowflake pricing in about 20 points. It's kind of a battleground name, and earnings reactions have been more mixed lately. I think it could be a mover, but at 20 points, I mean, I just don't know if I have enough conviction to go after it. So it'll probably most likely be something I look at for like a quick trade after numbers, because it does tend to be volatile around its earnings days. So it might be something like post number focus. Splunk pricing in about 10 points. Um, it can sometimes be volatile in reports. Last quarter was solid. Option pricing isn't crazy high on it, so it might be actually more of like a spec bull play for me. But it's going to depend on how the week is going. And then also Williams Sonoma pricing in 21 points, but those are monthly options. Again, I really don't know what to make of the retailers next week. Um, I didn't like the action this past week on them, so I might not go after much. But occasionally, Williams Sonoma can see a big swing, but I just don't really like the setup that much here. Before the open on Thursday, more retailers. Dollar General, which is pricing in 13.5, and Dollar Tree, which is pricing in 15. You know, like this in Dollar General, I mean, usually you could play the sympathy trade on one versus the other if one reported first, but they're both before the open on Thursday, so that kind of removes that trade. Maybe five below because they don't report, but it's also not as closely correlated with them. Both Dollar Tree and Dollar General are coming off solid quarters and are near their high, so I'd say expectations are definitely higher for them. Um, I do feel like the results should be solid, but if they do surprise on the downside, right? If they're surprisingly weak, I feel like these stocks would get punished a little bit more because they've been bid up a lot more lately. So versus some other names, it does feels like there's a little bit more downside risk on Dollar Tree and Dollar General. Peloton, so about 2.5 points is what's priced in. Should be interesting. I guess I'm not expecting the numbers to be very good, but beaten up name has higher short interest, so it's anyone's guess as to what the stock does. I might not take options into the report, but it'll probably be something I'm focused on after the numbers come out if it's moving around. After the close on Thursday, Affirm, so about 6.5 points is what they're looking for. I expect this one to be volatile. The bigger question is whether it can move, 6.5 to reward options, because there have been some large move around earnings on this, but also in this environment, it seems like it's a little bit tougher for these types of setups. Um, but like UPST and SOFI, they've given opportunities to trade after the report, so I might look at a firm the same way. I mean, wait till numbers come out, then maybe hop in for a quick trade if things line up. Workday, so about 13 points is what's priced in. Another high-profile software report. There's a bunch of them next week. It'll probably move a little bit on Salesforce, but it also isn't like super, super highly correlated with it. NOW, ServiceNow, they had mixed results, was initially hit hard. This hasn't had a large move in earnings in a little while, and that's actually helped option pricing come down a bit. So, I guess actually to me it seems like the options may leave a little room for volatility strategy, but we're gonna have to wait and see where it's trading later in the week because by Thursday, it could be up a bunch or down a bunch from here. Marvell, so about 5 points is what's priced in. At one point this was like a leading semi, but it's lost some of that luster. It does at the moment look pretty similar to other chip stocks. Relatively tight consolidation ahead of earnings under the 100-day. My plan this quarter has been to avoid chip reports, just playing options on them. So I'm probably going to stick with that plan on Marvell. Ulta, so another volatile name on Thursday after the close. About 28 points is what's priced in. Occasionally it can be a huge mover, and it actually jumped almost 50 last quarter. So with options pricing in 28, Question is, does it move as much as last quarter? Because if it does, obviously options are underpriced, right? Um, it's at a pretty big resistance. So anyway, go back so you can see it's up right around this big resistance area. So if it does have a good quarter and it breaks out, I mean, it seems like it could be a pent up move higher. And also, I mean, if it's bad, I mean, just a week and a half ago, this was trading around 360. So it seems like there's room higher, room lower, maybe a speculative late in the week strangle idea for me. And then lastly, Friday before the open, uh, JKS, which is a Chinese solar name, about $7 is what's priced in, but those are monthly September options. I mean, if it wasn't Chinese based, they'd probably be doing a lot better because solar stocks have been ripping, and this hasn't, obviously. So I guess I feel like the risk is to the upside with the action in solar stocks, but at the same time, people really have not been going after Chinese stocks lately. So you know, either either a wait and see or maybe something speculative bullish, but overall, it still just feels like Chinese stocks aren't in play. So probably won't be a focus for me. And that's it. So you can see, I mean, there's a lot of big names reporting this coming week, so it should be busy. Plus, you got Powell on Friday's comments from Jackson Hole conference, which should add to like the late week volatility. So I'm expecting a busy few days. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading events with options, trading earnings with options, please follow up the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Have a fantastic weekend, stay well, and I will talk to you on Monday.